What about this whole Milan project then, Grell? Because obviously the last two transfer windows, we've talked about how new look this team looks. Yet again, they're in the same position heading into this new season. Luka Modric is obviously a big signing, even though he's in the twilight of his career, being 39. Are they in a good moment right now, or is it too early to tell?
I think they're in a good moment. I think they made some really good business, some good signings. Obviously, they lost some massive pieces in Reinders as well, but they have the pieces to compete. One more defender maybe would be helpful. With Allegri, you know what you're going to get. And it might not be the prettiest, it might not be the most beautiful, but it's going to be pragmatic, it's going to be organized, and they're going to get results. And I would bring it to the bank that they'd be in the top 4 this season.
Scudetto contender? Are you standing by that, or was that a hot take from you?
It looks like at the moment, on paper is not saying much, but on paper we haven't seen this season. Napoli, the favorites from who they've signed and what they're building on with Antonio Conte. But when you go to the next best manager in terms of what you're going to get, it's Allegri. And so I think it's going to be an interesting season, but it's going to be a season where Milan are going to be a tough team to play against.
Mm-hmm. What about Christian Pulisic, very quickly, because it's been a bit of a strange summer for him personally, hasn't it, with everything that's kind of happened with the US men's national team? It's a huge season ahead of the World Cup that's to come. Where is he right now, Tony, at this point?
Yeah, he looked okay in the Liverpool match, right? He didn't play, obviously, with the US men's national team, said he needed a little bit of a rest. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it. Nonetheless, he should be ready for the season, right? He should be fully fit. He should be at peak, what are we, 2 weeks away from the opener? So I'm really looking forward to what it looks like under Allegri, because if they are going to go on a counter, as I said, I think he can be a pretty important piece to the puzzle. And of course, he had a great season last year. He's grown into being a full-time starter with this team. He's in a great position. Obviously worried about what happens in Milan, but getting ready for a World Cup as well.
If you were him, Nigel, would you feel an extra sense of pressure having missed that big tournament for the US this past summer and having the World Cup on the horizon?
Yeah, you would. You have to. There's no denying that. Yeah, it's been a big talk over here in your country you're from, in America, with people disagreeing with how this whole situation was handled. You wanted time to yourself. Now you've got that time. Now you've got to go. It's a big, big season for you. You set such high standards last year, and the world of football will always judge you by those standards. Now you've made yourself become Mr. AC Milan. You've got to reach those standards again this season, going into a World Cup, and hopefully he stays fit and healthy all the way through. And I think it's the realisation of it. If you want to be a top player, this is what comes with it. You set these standards, this is what's going to be judged by. And if you don't make these standards, you're going to get criticism. This is what comes with football. This is the reality of the industry that we're in, the dream that we've chased. So it's a really big season for him and a lot of pressure on him.
The one worry with Allegri is that he plays with wing-backs, right? So he plays 5-3-2. And Pulisic's not one of the 3 midfielders, right? Because he normally has a playmaker in there, would probably be Modric or someone else, and then 2 number 8s like Musa or someone that can cover the ground, right? A couple new signings in that area as well. And then he's going to play with 2 strikers. And you imagine it's number 9, Jimenez or someone else, and Leão. You wonder now, okay, where does... Obviously, the leading goal scorer, they're probably their best player in the last 2 years. Where does he fit into that formation? And it happened with Federico Chiesa at Juventus. When Allegri was at Juventus, they couldn't find the spot. Then they actually put Chiesa in a wing-back position where it was clear that he was so deep, far from the goal, and not being able to be effective. So that's definitely something to look out for moving into the next season. Where will he slot in?
Where could you see him playing in this system then? Because that is a good point, and that's worrying because Chiesa just couldn't get back into the team once he was kind of on the outs with Allegri.
Very similar characteristics, I think. Obviously, totally different players, but similar characteristics in that they're attacking players, good on the ball, good on the dribble, quick, right, good in transition. And Chiesa didn't work out in the wing-back position, and he didn't really work out as a striker in more central positions. Maybe Pulisic can play in the central positions, but then that would look like an up-top 2 of Leão and Pulisic. I mean, maybe that would be nuts to think about, but it's a possibility.
Against Liverpool, he played with 2 strikers and 2 guys underneath, almost in a box. Pulisic was one of those guys. I can see him playing as a second striker if he gives him the mobility to run underneath Leão, but that would mean Leão has to do something he's not necessarily comfortable with, and that's playing more as a point striker. He played, again, I go back to the Liverpool match. He played as a striker, but he was leaned towards the left-hand side because we know that's where he feels comfortable.
That's his favourite side,
right?
Yeah.
So but I just can't see a world where Allegri doesn't fit with this roster. The Juve roster you were talking about was a little bit deeper than this Milan roster is. So with this Milan roster, I can't see a world where he doesn't play him, at least right now, with the players they have.
No, he's got to play him for sure. He's going to fit him in somewhere. I just don't think maybe it's he was the best the last 2 seasons.
I suppose one thing as well for Allegri, you talked about it earlier, getting Leão on your side is massive because we saw that Fonseca couldn't do that, Conceição couldn't do it. How do you see the relationship going with Leão and Allegri? Because it feels like it's a massive season for Leão as well after he hasn't kind of reached his potential over the last few seasons by some people's measurements.
It's a massive season for Leão, but it's also, this is why the top managers get paid that. This is why they're respected. They know what they have to do. It's just common sense factor. This is one of your best players. When he's on his day, it's hard to deny that Rafael Leão is potentially one of the best players in world football. When he's focused and wants to make it happen, he can make it happen. You can't deny the talent, but you've got to get him to do it in a more consistent level. And it's not just about the managers as well. These players realise it's a big season for all of them. It's a World Cup year. All of these players want to be playing in the World Cup. And if you're not performing or playing for your teams, you're not going to go to the World Cup, regardless of how talented you are. And he represents Portugal. Portugal have a lot of talent coming through. You talk about the younger players coming through as well. Yes, he's one of the key players, but you still want to be that guy that's playing for your national team when the World Cup comes around. So there's pressure on the players as well as there is the managers. And Leão is one of those top players. I think this can be a really big season for him.
Can you imagine being Allegri, right? You're not going to tell him how to trap a ball, how to go 1v1. I mean, positionally, maybe you can help him a little bit, but it's basically like you're a psychiatrist, right? You're trying to get...
It's true.
Like, it's how good can you connect with this guy who's a lot younger than you, who's obviously this unbelievable talent that can't seem to access it all the time. How well can he do that? I think Allegri's one of the best. If you've seen the clips of him with Pogba, with Vlahovic at times, at Juventus when he was there, I think although his style of football is not the prettiest, I think nobody will say that it is, he had a really good relationship with the players. I think you can see that also when he left at Juventus, he left with a good relationship with the players who stood up for him, who fought for him. So if there's anyone who can unlock Leão and get him more consistent, it's probably going to be Allegri.
You have to be a horse whisperer, right, Tony, right? So you've got to go to him and say to him, you could be the best player in the world. Just do this. Just do this. Don't worry about the team. You just do this for me. Do this. You're going to be the best player in the world. Everyone's going to talk about you. You're going to be one of the world's greats. That is what his relationship has to be with Leão. Continually just making him feel on top of the world to say, you have the talent. Just go out there and do it. Do it for me. Be the best player in the world.
And that's what Pioli did with Leão, right? And got the best out of him. And I think we sort of minimize the role of the manager sometimes. We think about X's and O's and we say, oh, he plays in this formation and they don't attack. But sometimes it's massaging the ego a little bit, right? And it's, like you said, the psychological part of the game where you just have to manage players, right? And the great ones do that all the time. Coming into this, Allegri probably said, Poppy, my number one mission is to get Rafael Leão on the right page with us, same page with us, and get on the right side with him where he wants to play for the team and he wants to play for me. So, yeah, it's a really important move. So far, so good, though.
Do you think, though, in the back of Leão's mind, he's thinking we've had a lot of managers turnover and maybe if this one doesn't work out, that the looks are going to be elsewhere, or is he too much of a star player for that?
Well, think about what Milan did, right? They took a chance on two different managers. They took a chance on different systems. They took a big chance on Ibrahimovic, who seems to be all over the place in that position. We don't even know what the position is. Now they went for Allegri. Now there could be no more question marks because he's a proven manager in this league. He's a proven system. And so now if Leão doesn't succeed, if the system doesn't work, it's going to be to start looking at players and start looking at other places because Allegri's been proven in Serie A.